The massive hall of the Galactic Council was filled with worried voices. Representatives from across the galaxy had gathered for an emergency meeting. Something terrible had happened, and everyone was scared. Ambassador Trix, from the Crystal People, stood at the center of the room. His see-through body was glowing with fear as he prepared to share the bad news. Around him sat creatures of all shapes and sizes. Some looked like giant insects, others were made of pure energy, and some appeared almost human but with extra arms or different colored skin. "Friends from across the stars," Trix began, his voice shaking through the translation machines. "We have received what can only be a threat of war from the humans of planet Earth." The room became quiet. These aliens had only recently discovered humans. Earth was a world that most civilized races would run away from. It had terrible storms, earthquakes that could split continents, and wild animals that could kill with ease. Most aliens thought Earth was too dangerous for intelligent life to exist there. Council leader Nex, a tall purple being with 4 arms, raised one hand. "Ambassador Trix, tell us exactly what these humans said." Trix pressed a button and a hologram appeared in the air. It showed a human man with a rough face and serious eyes. He wore clothes covered in metal symbols that the aliens did not understand. "People of the galaxy," the human voice said through the translation system, "we are the Deathworlders. Our fleet is coming. Get ready for us." Every creature in the room went silent. Even the bug-like aliens stopped their clicking sounds. The words Deathworlders sent fear through every heart present. Captain Zoll from the Peace Union stood up. His light blue skin turned pale with worry. "The meaning is clear. They want to conquer us all. We must prepare our defenses right now." But the aliens had made a big mistake. The message they heard was not from soldiers at all. It was from Jake Morrison, a man who made adventure movies. He was announcing the arrival of extreme sports competitors to a mining station in space. These humans called themselves Deathworlders as a joke, because other aliens said Earth was a death world. The extreme sports people were proud of coming from such a dangerous planet. They wore the name Deathworlders like a badge of honor. They never thought anyone would see it as a war threat. To them, it was just fun. But the Galactic Council did not know this. All they heard was a species from a nightmare world calling themselves Deathworlders with ships coming their way. In their minds, Earth had just declared war on the peaceful galaxy. As emergency alarms began to sound across 1,000 worlds, the biggest mistake in galactic history was about to begin. Military forces that had not been used in hundreds of years started to wake up. Peaceful species who had forgotten how to fight began to remember old lessons of war. The humans had no idea what was happening. On Earth, people were going about their normal lives. Children played in parks, adults worked in offices, and scientists studied the stars. None of them knew that their peaceful message had been heard as a declaration of war. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, massive ships began to move. The warrior clans dusted off their battle fleets. The Harmony Collective activated their defense systems. Even the gentle plant people began to grow war thorns for the first time in centuries. Admiral Vex of the Crystal Fleet looked at his battle plans with sad eyes. His people had not fought a war in over 500 years, but if the Deathworlders were coming, they had to be ready. "Send word to all our allies," Vex ordered his officers. "Tell them the peace is over. The Deathworlders have chosen war, so we must give them war." Back on the human mining station where Jake Morrison had made his announcement, workers were getting ready for the sports competition. They had built safe viewing areas and emergency medical stations. The most dangerous athletes in human space were coming to compete in extreme challenges among the asteroids. Jake himself was excited. This would be his biggest documentary yet. He had no idea that his words had traveled far beyond their intended audience. He did not know that alien listening posts had picked up his transmission and sent it to every major power in the galaxy. The sports fleet was made up of modified cargo ships, medical vessels, and recording equipment. They carried athletes, not soldiers. Their weapons were safety tools and mining equipment, not instruments of war. But to alien eyes, any ship from the Deathworld would look like a threat. As the human fleet moved through space toward their sporting event, they had no idea they were being tracked by 1,000 alien sensors. They did not know that the greatest military force in galactic history was mobilizing to stop them. The stage was set for a battle that nobody wanted. On one side, peaceful aliens who thought they were about to be invaded. On the other side, humans who just wanted to play sports in space. Both sides were about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous enemies are the ones created by misunderstanding. The countdown to first contact had begun, and it was going to be nothing like anyone had imagined. Admiral Rex Thompson stood on the bridge of his ship, the Earth vessel's Strength. He had no idea that his peaceful research fleet had just been marked as an invasion force by every major power in the galaxy. His ships were scientists, miners, and support crews. They were on their way to study asteroids and help with the extreme sports competition. "Admiral," called out his navigator, Maria Lopez, from her control station. "We are picking up strange signals on the deep space channels. It looks like many alien fleets are moving around out there." Thompson looked worried. He was a scientist, first, and a military man, second. He had only been given command of the fleet because he knew more about alien life than anyone else on Earth. "Any idea what is causing all this movement?" "No, sir. But it sounds like they are getting ready for some kind of big fight." Thompson had no way of knowing that he and his peaceful fleet were the cause of all this activity. Across the galaxy, the greatest military buildup in history was taking place. Species that had been at peace for hundreds of years were dusting off their war machines. On the warrior clan homeworld, General Krex looked at his fleet commanders with serious eyes. "Intelligence reports tell us that the Deathworlder fleet has ships we have never seen before. Their technology seems to be built for surviving in the worst places possible." This was actually true. Human ships were made to handle the dangers of space travel from a world with strong gravity and violent weather. But the aliens thought this tough construction meant the ships were built for war. Captain Amy Stone commanded a mining ship called the Metal Bird. She was checking her crew assignments when her communications officer ran onto the bridge looking scared. "Captain, someone calling themselves the Galactic Defense Pact is trying to talk to us. They want us to surrender right now." Stone stared at him in confusion. "Surrender? What are they talking about? We are just miners." The answer came when their sensors detected massive energy readings. Hundreds of alien ships, representing dozens of different species, were moving toward them from all directions. The peaceful mining fleet was suddenly surrounded by the largest war fleet ever assembled. On Earth, President Davis was in the middle of a normal government meeting when General White burst through the doors of his office. "Mr. President, we have a big problem. Our deep space watching stations are seeing huge fleet movements all over the galaxy. Every major alien power seems to be getting ready for war." "War against who?" President Davis asked, though he was afraid he already knew. "Against us, sir. We have heard their communications. They think humans are an aggressive Deathworlder species. They believe we have declared war on the entire galaxy." Meanwhile, the human fleet continued on its peaceful mission, completely unaware of the danger closing in around them. The sports. Competitors were practicing their routines. The scientists were studying their star charts. The mining crews were preparing their equipment. But in the alien command centers, battle plans were being made. Fleet Admiral Dex of the Harmony Collective studied the approaching human vessels through long-range sensors. "Look at the construction of those ships," Dex told his officers. "They are built like fortresses. Hull plating thick enough to stop asteroids. Radiation shielding that could survive a solar storm. These are clearly warships disguised as civilian vessels." What Dex did not understand was that all human ships had to be built this way. Earth was a dangerous world orbiting a violent star. Any ship that could not handle radiation, impacts, and extreme conditions would never survive a trip to deep space. The alien fleets continued to gather. The crystal people brought their light beam weapons. The plant people grew their thorn ships. The energy beings charged their plasma cannons. Even the peaceful fish people activated their sonic weapons for the first time in centuries. As the trap closed around the human fleet, both sides remained completely convinced they were facing a deadly threat. The humans could see the alien ships on their sensors but could not understand why they were being surrounded. The aliens could see the human warships approaching, but could not understand why the Deathworlders had not yet attacked. The stage was set for the first battle between humans and aliens. It would be a fight that neither side wanted, based on a misunderstanding that no one could explain. The peaceful galaxy was about to learn what happened when civilized beings tried to fight creatures from a death world, and the humans were about to discover that sometimes being friendly was not enough to prevent a war. Their mining lasers and construction tools were about to become weapons. Their strong ships built for survival were about to become the thing that kept them alive in battle. A countdown to first contact had reached its final moments, and it was going to be written in fire and steel among the stars. Captain Lisa Ward of the Earthship Explorer watched her sensor screens with growing fear. What she saw around her small scientific fleet could only be called an armada. Ships of strange designs surrounded them on all sides. Every alien vessel had weapons pointed at the human fleet. "Captain," her weapons officer, Lieutenant Brooks, reported with panic in his voice, "we are reading energy levels that could destroy planets. All of them are aimed at us." Ward had been excited about humanity's first real meeting with galactic civilization. This was not how she had imagined it would happen. She had expected friendly greetings and peaceful exchanges of knowledge. Instead, she was facing what looked like the entire galaxy ready for war. The lead alien ship was a massive crystal structure that seemed to bend light around itself. It opened communications, and a cold, mechanical voice came through the translation system. "Deathworlder fleet, you are surrounded. Turn off your weapons and prepare to be boarded. If you resist, we will destroy you immediately." Weapons? Ward looked around her bridge in confusion. The Explorer was a research ship. Its only tools were mining lasers for taking rock samples and defensive screens to protect against space dust. "This is Captain Ward of the United Earthship Explorer. I think there has been some kind of mistake. On the bridge of the Crystal. People flagship." Admiral Vex heard the human's calm voice and thought it showed the confidence of a superior military force. The fact that the human ships showed no signs of turning off weapon systems only made him more suspicious. He did not know that the humans had no military weapons to turn off. "They are not doing what we demanded," reported his tactical officer. "Scans show their hull construction is designed to survive direct hits from asteroids and solar radiation that would kill most species. These are clearly warships pretending to be research vessels." Admiral Rex Thompson, commanding the human fleet, from his ship strength, tried desperately to talk to the aliens. "To all ships, this is Admiral Rex Thompson of the United Earth Space Command. We are a peaceful scientific expedition. We have no hostile intentions toward any galactic power." But the aliens had already decided what they were going to do. When human ships failed to turn off systems that did not exist and continued what looked like aggressive movement patterns, the Galactic Defense Pact opened fire. The first shots came from a Harmony Collective cruiser. Beams of energy designed to disable rather than destroy struck the Explorer's hull. The beams were absorbed by shielding systems designed to protect against cosmic radiation and tiny space rocks. "They are shooting at us!" Lieutenant Brooks shouted, his training taking over despite his terror. "Return fire! All ships! Defensive positions!" Ward ordered. Her scientific mission had suddenly become a fight for survival. The mining lasers and digging charges that the human ships carried were not made for combat, but they were still dangerous. when the captain of the mining ship Iron Phoenix fired. Her rock-cutting laser at an approaching alien vessel, the beam sliced through its hull like paper. To the aliens, this proved their worst fears. The Deathworlders' mining equipment was cutting through military armor as if it was nothing. "All units, maximum firepower," Admiral Vex commanded. "These creatures are more dangerous than we thought." What happened next was a chaotic running battle through the asteroid field. Human ships, built to survive the harsh environment around Earth's violent sun, proved surprisingly tough against alien weapons designed for fighting between civilized species. Meanwhile, tools meant for asteroid mining and deep space construction became deadly weapons. The human ship Digger used its construction charges to blow up asteroids, sending rock fragments flying at alien vessels like shotgun blasts. The research ship Seeker used its sample-collecting tractor beam to grab an alien fighter and throw it into an asteroid. "How are they doing this?" Admiral Vex demanded as he watched his fleet take damage from what should have been helpless civilian ships. "Our weapons should have disabled them by now." What Vex did not understand was that human technology was built for a world that tried to kill its inhabitants every day. Earth ships had backup systems for their backup systems. They had armor designed to handle solar flares and impact shielding meant to survive asteroid strikes. Captain Maria Santos of the human cargo ship Heavy Lifter found herself in a dogfight with 3 alien fighters. Her ship was slow and clumsy, but it was built like a tank. The alien weapons that should have crippled her barely scratched her paint. "This is impossible," she muttered as she used her cargo manipulator arms to grab one of the fighters and crush it like a tin can. "What kind of first contact is this?" The battle raged for hours among the asteroids. Both sides took heavy losses, but neither could gain a clear advantage. The aliens had superior numbers and better weapons technology. The humans had tougher ships and tools that worked as improvised weapons. As explosions lit up the darkness of space, both sides became convinced they were fighting for their very survival. The mistake that had started with a sports announcement had grown into the first interstellar war in galactic history. The peaceful galaxy was learning a hard lesson about what happened when civilized beings fought creatures who had been shaped by a world of constant danger. And the humans were discovering that sometimes being tough enough to survive Earth was the same as being tough enough to survive a war. The battle was far from over, and both sides were about to learn just how much damage a misunderstanding could cause when it was written in fire among the stars. The battle in the asteroid field had been going on for 8 brutal hours. Both sides had lost many ships, but no one was winning. Admiral Vex, his crystal body now flickering with stress patterns, stared at the battle display in disbelief. "How are they still fighting?" he demanded from his staff. "We have hit them with enough firepower to destroy a small moon." What Vex did not understand was that human ships were built like flying fortresses. They were designed to work in the terrible environment near Earth's sun, with its constant solar storms and deadly radiation. They could take punishment that would turn ships from peaceful worlds into space dust. Captain Rodriguez of the Earthship Defender limped his damaged vessel behind a large asteroid. His hull was broken in 20 places, but his crew was still alive thanks to the multiple life support systems that were standard on all human ships. "Status report," he called out to his chief engineer. "We are holding together barely. But Captain, our communication system is picking up something scary. More ships are coming, many more ships. Across the galaxy, news of the first battle had spread like wildfire." The peaceful species of the Galactic Council, who had known nothing but harmony for hundreds of years, were learning the bitter lessons of warfare against an enemy they believed had been shaped by constant violence. On Earth, the emergency meeting of world leaders had been going on for 20 hours straight. President Davis looked tired and worried as reports continued to come in from deep space monitoring stations. "The situation is getting worse than our worst fears," General White reported grimly. "Long-range sensors show at least 20 different Alien species are now bringing their fleets into the fight. We are looking at a potential enemy force of thousands of ships. Ambassador Green, Earth's recently appointed Secretary of Alien Affairs, raised a shaking hand. Sir, we have to try talking to them again. There has to be a way to solve this peacefully. We have tried, Davis replied. Every attempt at communication is seen as psychological warfare. They seem convinced we are some kind of galactic conquerors bent on destroying their civilization. Meanwhile, in the depths of space, Admiral Thompson was coming to the same grim conclusion. His fleet was outnumbered 100-1, facing enemies with technology he did not understand, and every attempt at peaceful contact had failed. Admiral, his communications officer reported, "We are receiving a priority message from Earth Command. They are authorizing the deployment of the Titan fleet." Thompson felt a chill run down his spine. The Titan fleet was humanity's most closely guarded secret. It was a collection of massive industrial ships designed for building space stations and mining entire asteroids. They were not warships, but their size and construction capabilities made them potentially the most dangerous vessels humanity had ever built. "How long until they arrive?" Thompson asked. 16 hours, sir." On the other side of the battle lines, Fleet Admiral Krex was receiving his own reinforcements. The warrior cultures of the Outer Rim, species that had once been conquerors. Themselves, before joining the galactic community, were bringing their old battle fleets out of storage. "The Deathworlders have called for more forces," Krex's intelligence officer reported. "Our deep space monitors detect massive energy signatures approaching from the direction of their home system. These new vessels are larger than anything in our databases." The warrior clans had not fought a real war in 300 years, but they remembered how. Ancient battle cruisers that had been turned into museums were being recommissioned. Weapons that had been sealed away were being brought back online. "If the Deathworlders want a war," Krex growled, "then we will give them a war they will never forget." As both sides prepared for what they believed would be the final battle, the tragic situation continued to grow worse. Humanity's industrial might, designed to build homes among the stars, was being seen as a war machine. The aliens' desperate defense of their peaceful civilization was being interpreted as unprovoked aggression. The human mining ship Rocky Point had managed to repair its engines and was trying to escape the battle zone when it was intercepted by a squadron of Plant People Thorn ships. Captain Williams tried one more time to explain that they were not warriors. "Unknown vessels. This is Captain Williams of the civilian mining vessel Rocky Point. We are not military. We are just trying to get home." The Plant People commander, Admiral Leaf Dancer, heard the transmission and felt confusion. The human's voice sounded tired and sad, not aggressive and warlike. But intelligence reports were clear. These were Deathworlders, beings from a world so terrible that it had shaped them into perfect killers. "Deathworlder vessel," Leaf Dancer replied, "your deception will not work. We know what you are. Surrender now, or be destroyed." The Rocky Point's mining lasers, meant for cutting through asteroid rock, fired in self-defense. The beams sliced through the Thorn ship's organic hulls like they were made of paper. To Leaf Dancer, this was proof that even the humans' civilian ships were weapons of mass destruction. Meanwhile, the massive shapes of the Titan fleet were beginning to appear on long-range sensors. The industrial giants looked like mechanical monsters to alien eyes, ships the size of small cities, bristling with construction equipment that looked like weapons to species who had never seen anything like them. "By the Great Tree," whispered Leaf Dancer as the sensor readings came in, "they are bringing world killers." The greatest military confrontation in galactic history was about to begin. Thousands of ships representing dozens of species were converging on a single point in space. Ancient weapons were being powered up for the first time in centuries. Young soldiers who had never seen combat were about to learn the horrors of war, and it was all based on a catastrophic misunderstanding that seemed impossible to resolve. The humans thought they were fighting for their survival against unprovoked alien aggression. The aliens thought they were making their last stand against creatures who wanted to destroy their peaceful way of life. The stage was set for a battle that would either end in the destruction of humanity or the fall of galactic civilization. Neither side wanted this war, but both sides were convinced they had no choice but to fight. The Titan fleet came out of hyperspace like mechanical gods. The Earth ship's builder, maker, and creator appeared alongside their escort of heavy cargo ships and mining platforms. Each of the main ships was the size of a small moon. To human eyes, they were the tools of civilization. To the gathered alien fleets, they looked like planet-destroying weapons. Admiral Sarah Cross, commander of the Titan fleet, opened communications with Admiral Thompson's damaged task force. "Rex, what is the situation out here?" "Sarah, thanks so. God, you made it. We are facing what looks like the entire galaxy, and I still do not understand why. Every attempt to talk to them has failed." Cross studied the tactical display showing hundreds of alien vessels arranged in battle formations around them. The human fleet was completely surrounded, but the aliens seemed to be waiting for something. "Any ideas about what started this?" "None. That makes sense. They keep calling us Deathworlders and seem convinced we are here to conquer them all." Meanwhile, on the Crystal People flagship, Admiral Vex was staring at the massive human vessels with growing horror. "Those are not ships," he whispered to his officers. "They are space fortresses. The Deathworlders have brought their world-destroying weapons." The tension in space was so thick it could be cut with a knife. Thousands of ships from dozens of species faced off against a few hundred human vessels. Weapons that had not been fired in anger for centuries were charged and ready. The greatest battle in galactic history was about to begin. But then something unexpected happened. A young communications officer aboard the Earth ship creator, Petty Officer Mark Davis, made a discovery that would change everything. "Admiral, Cross," Davis called out excitedly. "I have been studying the alien communication signals. I think I found something important. They keep talking about a transmission they heard, something about a Deathworld challenge." Cross looked confused. "The extreme sports competition? What does that have to do with anything?" "Ma'am, I think they might have misunderstood Jake Morrison's announcement. You know, when he said, 'We are the Deathworlders, our fleet approaches, get ready for us.'" The pieces suddenly clicked into place for Admiral Cross. She realized what had happened and felt a mixture of relief and horror. The entire galactic war had started because aliens had heard a sports announcement and thought it was a declaration of war. She turned to her communications officer with urgent intensity. "Get me a direct channel to the alien fleet. All frequencies. Maximum power. This is our only chance to stop this madness. Admiral Cross to all alien vessels," she broadcast, her voice carrying across space to thousands of ships. "I believe there has been a terrible misunderstanding. We are not warriors. We are not conquerors. The transmission you heard was from a sporting event, not a military declaration." On the alien flagship, the translation computers struggled with concepts that had no equivalent in most galactic languages. Sports competitions where people voluntarily risked death for fun was beyond their understanding. It was Captain Elena Martinez who finally broke through the confusion. Using her background in studying alien cultures, she began broadcasting a detailed explanation, complete with video footage of Earth's extreme sports competitions, documentary recordings of Jake Morrison's expeditions, and most importantly, recordings of human children playing in environments that would kill most alien species within minutes. "We call our world a death world because we know how dangerous it is," Martinez explained patiently. "But it is our home. We do not want to bring death to other worlds. We want to bring life to places where others cannot survive. Our fleet is not an invasion force. It is an exploration and construction group." She showed them videos of humans surfing on lava, climbing mountains in blizzards, and diving into ocean trenches. She explained how these dangerous activities were done for fun, not for war. She showed them footage of the sports competition that was supposed to happen in the asteroid field. The revelation spread through the alien fleets like a shockwave. Species that had prepared for war began to understand that they had been fighting beings who were simply built differently, shaped by a world that demanded strength to survive. Admiral Vex, his crystal form now pulsing with embarrassment rather than aggression, opened a direct channel to the human fleet. Admiral Cross, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I must say that this is unprecedented. We believed we were defending ourselves against an invasion that was never coming. And we thought you were trying to destroy us for no reason, Cross replied. I suppose we both acted according to our nature. You tried to preserve peace, and we tried to survive whatever the universe threw at us. The standoff gradually dissolved as both sides powered down weapons and began the delicate process of first contact as it should have happened from the beginning. Medical ships from both fleets moved to help the wounded, while diplomats worked frantically to establish proper communication protocols. Captain Rodriguez, whose ship had been badly damaged in the fighting, found himself talking to a Crystal People medical officer who was helping to repair his life support systems. I am sorry we shot at you, the alien medic said through the translator. We thought you were monsters who wanted to hurt us. We are. Sorry too, Rodriguez replied. We thought you were trying to kill us. I guess we were both wrong. In the weeks that followed, as the truth of the misunderstanding became clear across the galaxy, it sparked something nobody had expected. The galaxy's peaceful species, who had lived in harmony for centuries, began to see humanity not as conquerors, but as survivors. Beings who had turned the harshness of their world into strength, who faced the impossible and called it home, and humanity, for their part, found their place in a galaxy that needed their unique toughness. Where others saw Deathworlds, humans saw new homes. Where others saw impossible challenges, humans saw opportunities to grow and explore. The war that never should have happened became the foundation for the most unlikely alliance in galactic history. The Deathworlders had indeed arrived, not as conquerors, but as the galaxy's newest protectors, ready to go where no other species could survive. Jake Morrison, the extreme sports announcer whose words had started it all, eventually learned what had happened. He was horrified at first, but then proud that his fellow humans had handled the situation with such courage and determination. The misunderstanding that had nearly destroyed two civilizations instead became the beginning of a partnership that would reshape the stars themselves. Humans would go on to explore the most dangerous regions of space, building homes and research stations in places that other species could only dream of visiting. And the peaceful aliens learned that sometimes the most valuable allies were the ones who seemed the most dangerous at first glance. The Deathworlders had taught them that strength and kindness could exist together, that survivors could also be protectors. The galaxy was never the same again, and it was better for it.